Hi, hello. Welcome to my YouTube lectures. Myself, Professor Raju Rollakanti, Department of ECE, St. Peter's Engineering College and UGC Autonomous Institute, Hyderabad. As you know, I am giving lectures on the subject of electromagnetic fields. Now we reach to the Unit 4. In Unit 4 today, I am going to give you a reflection and refraction of plane waves, normal incidence, plane directory, boundary. Actually, we are in fourth unit. The name of the fourth unit is EM wave characteristics. Actually, EM wave characteristics are divided into two parts. The latter part, first part and second part. Now we are in second part where we are going to discuss about reflection and refraction of plane waves, normal and oblique incidences, Brewster angle, critical angle, total internal reflection, surface impedance, Poynting vector and Poynting theorem and applications, power loss in a place conductor. These are all the topics of electromagnetic EM wave characteristics too. But in this series of lectures, today I am giving you reflection and refraction of plane waves, only normal incidence. Normal incidence for dielectric boundary. After that, in second video, we are going to give dielectric and conductor medium. Likewise, all other things we are going to discuss in coming videos. Especially in this video, we are going to discuss about reflection of a uniform plane, normal incidence at a plane dielectric boundary. Before going to that, I want to remind you that what is reflection and refraction as we studied in intermediate level physics, where you studied about light, but here we are going to study about uniform plane waves. So, reflection and refraction of uniform plane waves, but I want to start from intermediate level. When a light wave strikes a smooth interface of two transparent media, the transparent media may be air, glass, water, etc. The wave is in general, partly reflected and partly refracted. Refracted means transmitted. You see here the waves, incident waves that are reflecting rays and refracted rays. There is a certain angles to the normal. Let us discuss uniform plane waves, how these uniform plane waves are striking the boundary. So far, we studied uniform plane waves that are traveling in unbounded and homogeneous media. But practically, very often, waves propagate in bounded regions consisting several media of different parameters such as epsilon, mu, sigma, eta, etc. Epsilon means permittivity, mu means permeability, sigma means conductivity, eta means intrinsic impedance, etc. Before we actually start the reflection of the uniform plane wave, let us consider a simple example of transmission line. Consider a transmission line having a characteristic impedance Z0. Assume that a line is terminated in load impedance ZL. Here we have to discuss two cases. One is Z is equal to ZL or Z0 equal to ZL or not equal to ZL. If the load impedance ZL equals the characteristic impedance Z0, I want to give you the clarity about here Z0 ZL. What is Z0? Z0 is characteristic impedance, ZL is load impedance. If the load impedance ZL equals the characteristic impedance, that is ZL is equal to Z0, then the line is said to be properly terminated. If ZL is not equal to Z0, then there is a mismatch between the two impedances and the line is not properly terminated. Consider that the wave traveling along the line incidents at the load. The part of the wave gets absorbed by the load, while the other part is reflected back to the generator. So we can say reflection occurs at the load if ZL is not equal to Z0. If there are two waves, one is incident in forward direction while the other reflected back in backward direction, then the standing waves are said to be produced along the line. Now consider again the uniform plane wave that is traveling in non-homogeneous media. When a uniform plane wave travels from one medium to other having different intrinsic impedances, the reflection takes place at the boundary. The part of the wave is transmitted in medium 2 and the remaining part is reflected back to medium 1 depending upon the constitutive parameters of media. Depending on the manner in which the uniform plane wave is incident on the boundary, there are two cases of incidence: normal incidence and oblique incidence. The types of incidences: one is normal incidence and oblique incidence. What is normal incidence and what is oblique incidence? When a uniform plane wave incidents normally to the boundary between the media, then it is known as normal incidence. In this case, uniform plane wave incidents normally to the boundary between the media. But what is oblique incidence? Oblique means making some angle. When a uniform plane wave incidents obliquely, that means making certain angle to the boundary between the two media, then it is known as oblique incidences. Under these cases, we have to study the interface between two dielectric media and dielectric and conductive media. But in this video, I am going to explain two dielectric media, normal incidence. Okay. Now let us discuss normal incidence of a plane dielectric boundary. Consider a uniform plane wave that is striking the interface between the two dielectrics at right angles as shown in the figure. You see from the figure, medium 1 on the left side and medium 2 is on right side. Medium 1 is having the parameters epsilon 1, mu 1, sigma 1 and eta 1. Medium 2 is having the parameters epsilon 1, mu 1, sigma 1, eta 2. You see here, there in medium 1 there are two waves. One is incident wave, another one is reflected wave. The medium 1, the down one is incident wave, the upper one is reflected wave. Whenever the wave is incidenting, we are here showing two different things here: a circle encircled by dot, a circle encircled by a cross. What is the meaning of this one is, the circle encircled by dot is known as out of the page and cross shows that inside the page. So assume that a uniform plane wave travels along plus z direction and incident at right angles at the boundary between the two dielectric media at z is equal to 0. Below z is equal to 0, let the properties of medium 1 be epsilon 1, mu 1, sigma 1, eta 1. And above z is equal to 0, the properties of the medium 2 be epsilon 2, mu 2, sigma 2, eta 2. So depending upon the properties of the two media, part of the wave will be transmitted in medium 2, while the other part will be reflected back in medium 1. Now let us assume some certain things. EI and HI be the field strengths of incident wave that is striking the boundary, and let ET and HT be the field strengths of the transmitted wave in the medium 2, and let ER and HR be the field strengths of the reflected wave in medium 1 returning back from the interface. You can see from the figure it is clear that in medium 1 the total field comprises both the incident and reflect fields. Please remember, in medium 1 reflected and incident waves are there, but in medium 2 only the transmitted field gives the total field. So in medium 1 the sum of the incident and reflected fields contains the total field in medium 1. So the conditions for the total field in medium 1 are given by E1 bar is equal to E1 bar is equal to EI bar plus ER bar. Similarly, H1 bar is equal to HI bar plus HR bar for medium 1. For medium 2, E2 is equal to ET and H2 is equal to HT. According to the boundary conditions we studied in previous videos, the tangential components of E bar and H bar must be continuous at the boundary, that is Z is equal to 0. As we know, the waves are transverse in nature. At the boundary we get both the fields E bar and H bar both tangential to the interface. Therefore, we can say that E1 tan bar is equal to E2 tan bar, H1 tan bar is equal to H2 tan bar. Thus, at the interface Z is equal to 0, we can write EI bar plus ER bar is equal to ET and HI bar plus HR bar is equal to HT. The relationships between the magnitudes of E bar and H bar at Z is equal to 0 are given by the expressions that are here. We know the relation eta is equal to E by H. Eta is equal to, remember this, eta is equal to E by H. Therefore, E is equal to eta H. Please remember this as we studied in previous classes. Therefore, we can say EI is equal to eta 1 HI because incident wave is in medium 1, eta 1. ER is equal to minus eta 1 HR. Why minus? As direction of the reflected wave is opposite to that of the incident wave. Directed wave, the direction reflected wave is opposite to that of the incident wave. That is why minus. Next, ET is equal to eta 2 H2. Why eta 2? In medium 2. In terms of magnitudes of the fields E bar and H bar at the interface, we can write EI plus ER is equal to ET. These are the magnitudes. HI plus HR is equal to HT. Therefore, I am letting these two are equation 1 and equation 2. From equation, by putting I want to change this HI plus HT, HR is equal to HT. These all HT values into the EI values by the relation eta is equal to E by H. Therefore, H value becomes E by eta 1. Therefore, substituting HI is equal to EI by eta 1 minus ER by eta 1, that is equal to ET by eta 2. So now we are taking this eta 1 to the side, EI minus ER is equal to eta 1 by eta 2 ET. We are getting like that. You see here, by adding these two equations 1 and 2, get cancelled. So therefore we are getting 2 EI is equal to 1 plus eta 1 by eta 2 into ET. Therefore ET is equal to 2 eta 2 by eta 1 plus eta 2 into EI. Suppose if I want to take this EI to the left hand side, I am going to get ET by EI. This is defined as transmission coefficient. Actually, we are going to observe what is the transmission coefficient, what is the reflection coefficient, what is the total power, average power. We are going to see these three terms in this derivation is very important. One is transmission coefficient. Transmission coefficient that is denoted by small tau. What is small tau is ET by EI. What is the meaning of ET by EI? Out of this incident wave, how much is transmitted? So tau is equal to, that is the transmission coefficient is equal to ET by EI is equal to 2 eta 2 by eta 1 plus eta 2. This is very important. You see here, eliminating the ET from the equations 1 and 3, we are going to get EI plus ER is equal to eta 2 by eta 1 into EI minus ER. That implies eta 1 into EI plus ER, that is equal to eta 2 EI minus ER. Therefore, I want to take ER value. I want to take ER value is equal to, I am taking EI one side and ER one side. I am going to get ER is equal to eta 2 minus eta 1 by eta 2 plus eta 1 into EI. Now I want to take this EI to the left side. Then we are going to have ER by EI. ER by EI is equal to eta 2 minus eta 1 by eta 2 plus eta 1. What is ER by EI? It is a reflection coefficient. The reflection coefficient gives the value how much is reflected out of this incident wave. Therefore, capital tau is equal to ER by EI, that is equal to eta 2 minus eta 1 by eta 2 plus eta 1. The reflection coefficient and the transmission coefficient are related with some important relations. We can get it. You see here A, B, C. These are some conclusions, important results we can say about this one. What is A? 1 plus capital tau is equal to small tau. What is capital tau? Reflection coefficient. What is small tau? Transmission coefficient. That means 1 plus reflection coefficient is equal to transmission coefficient. We can get by deriving that one also. B point is the reflection coefficient value is always from 0 to 1. Third point says that C point, both the coefficients, that is reflection coefficient and transmission coefficient, are dimensionless, may be complex in nature. After that we have to do average powers. The prerequisite in calculating average power is Poynting theorem. From the Poynting theorem we know that average power is equal to 1 by 2 Em square by eta. The green one you have to remember. This is the formula we are getting from Poynting theorem. According to the Poynting theorem, average power is equal to half Em square by eta. Units are watts per meter square. The average power incident in medium is, average incident power is equal to half Ei square by eta 1. Average power reflected in medium 1 is, average reflected power is equal to Er square by eta 1, half Er square by eta 1. Therefore, the average power transmitted in medium 2 is, why? Because in medium means eta 1 is used here. Coming to medium 2, eta 2 we have to use. So average transmitted power is equal to half Et square by eta 2. The ratio of the power transmitted to power incident, that is average transmitted power by average incident power, that is equal to, we are that one by that one, half of get cancels. Therefore we are going to have eta 1 by eta 2 into et by ei whole square. Again we want to go for average transmitted power by average incident power. After solving we are going to get 4 eta 1 eta 2 by eta 1 plus eta 2 whole square, because eta t by eta I value is 2 eta 2 by eta 1 plus eta 2. I am substituting this value and I am going to get this value. The ratio of power reflected to power incident is average reflected power by average incident power is equal to half ER square by eta 1 by half EI square by eta 1. Then half of get cancels, this becomes eta 1 get cancels, ER by EI whole square. We know ER by EI is equal to eta 2 minus eta 1 by eta 1 plus eta, that's whole square. We are going to get, by adding all these things, that means average transmitted power by average incident power plus average receiving power by incident power. We are adding all these things, we are going to get 1. So we are, what is the conclusion is, average power, transmitted power plus reflected power is equal to incident power. You see here some R is there in right hand side, that is I, please. So we are going to say that average transmitted power plus average reflected power, that is equal to average incident power. This is all. In this derivation we have learnt transmission coefficient, reflection coefficient, and also average transmitted power plus average reflected power is equal to average incident power. So try to understand, but the prerequisite for learning this one is Poynting theorem. Thank you.